Welcome to the Wills and Estate Transmission Podcast, brought to you by De Groots, specialist lawyers in wills and estates.
Wills and Transmission Podcast with De Groots. And today we're welcoming Isabel Ayoub to the podcast channel. Isabel's been with Groots for a couple of years, but now she's a junior lawyer, studying and making her way forward. How are you, Isabel?
Thank you. How are you?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Nice to have something new. Well, actually, they're all new. What am I saying? There are lots of new people.
Thank you for having me. I'm very, very excited.
Absolutely. Cool. So what we're covering today is a really, really important topic, and especially for new people in the legal profession, mental health. And, it's a topic that doesn't get discussed very much. And in some legal firms, it's a bit of a boiler house environment, and they push hard to become a rainmaker and so on and so forth. So we've got a few topics here. So do you want to lead me into how you think mental health is handled these days? And we're not talking about how good De Groots are doing. We're talking about as a general.
Yeah, so I recently joined a new lawyer wellbeing guidelines for legal workspaces. It was a presentation done, and they sort of gave me an understanding of wellbeing in the legal industry across all junior lawyers. But again, this can be put across all lawyers, not just juniors. They raised a couple of important points, such as most people who leave law firms are juniors due to their poor mental health. The most vulnerable people in law firms are juniors, whether it be because of their mental health or not. Graduate lawyers appreciate support as they learn, so it's really important to implement support where you can in law firms. And lawyers who deliver high-quality legal services still need to focus on enhancing well-being, whether it be their own or those around them.
Yeah, look, they're really important issues. And again, there's a show out there about rainmakers and things like that. It's high stress. It tends to be America. But what's the sort of thing that could lead to a poor mental health outcome?
So they said things like expectations of perfection, which we often have as lawyers, pressures, whether it be from home and then coming to work, or pressures in the workspace, increased volume of work and information, discrimination, limited opportunities, poor leadership, toxic workplace cultures, unrealistic client expectations, stress, and then just often burnout, which we often suffer from.
Okay, and so what do you think are some of the individual things that, again, lawyers, not just junior lawyers, need more help with?
They definitely need more help. Having more guidance in the workspace would be helpful, whether it be having more team meetings, or just having one-on-one discussions with a team leader or someone who's higher up, just to understand their perspective and what they're expecting from you. When you know people's expectations, you don't feel so much pressure. I think that would be good for lawyers across, especially junior lawyers. I definitely think that we all need to foster a connected and empathetic legal profession. So we need to continue to deliver services of a high standard for clients, but we also need to focus on our own mental well-being.
Okay. So when we think about things like that, what do you think is stress?
So stress is hard to define, but when I joined the conference recently, they told me that it can either be a challenge or a threat, and we need to consider which one it is in our own personal situation. So where it is a challenge, it can be demands appraised as within one's resources. However, if it is a threat, it's where it is outside our resources to the point that we cannot cope. So I think it's really important when you think about stress, think about, is it a challenge or is it a threat? Is it something that we can overcome, or is it too much?
Yeah, and I mean, stress can be positive. There's a term called eustress, whereby stress gets you out of bed in the morning. It's that fundamental.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know that, again, the legal profession is fast-paced and stressful, and that by itself can be fun, but it can also be debilitating. So how can you tell where the line is?
I think it's a personal thing. I think you need to know yourself and you need to know your limits. I know for a lot of people, it's very common to seek medical assistance with that to determine, is this something that I can move forward from? Is there something that they can be helping me with? I know that there is forgive me if I say it wrong, but I think it's a mental health plan that you can do with your GP. They can help you determine, is this stress, is it a threat or is it a challenge? If not, they can recommend you see a psychologist or somebody else. But I definitely think it's personal. I think you need to figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, you need to seek some help.
And you've raised a good point there. So I think, again, it can be difficult to reach out, especially when you're a junior, because you have these expectations. Oh, I did that when I was a junior. That doesn't bother me. I'll surely, doing 10 hours a day, that's nothing. And then you're not allowed to have mental health issues. So how does that work? How can you cope with that?
I think having good support in the workspace and at home is a big thing. I know for me, when I first joined as a junior lawyer at De Groots, they were very, very helpful, and they let me know straight away if there was anything that I was overwhelmed with, to speak with the team leader or to speak with the team. So I knew straight away I was very comfortable with that. But again, it's just a personal thing, so you need to learn how to balance your work life and also your home life so they don't intertwine and become a big complication. I'm lucky here in my current job, there is not there's not a lot of long hours that I have to do, which is very good. If I was doing long hours or hours where I thought it was too stressful, I think that's when I would speak to the team leader and say, it's getting a bit too much for me. Is there anything that we can do to assist me?
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, it's important to speak up, because if you don't speak up, you get forgotten, and then people don't think of looking at you and what you're up to.
Yeah, and then you get stuck.
Yeah. So it goes around in the cycle and the circle, and goes on and keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a term that some people hear about and don't quite understand. What is well-being?
So I learned that there are two different types of well-being. So you can have feelings of happiness and feelings of ease. And then they can also have well-being where you have a sense of meaning. So when these two are together, you are thriving, you feel driven, and you have a sense of meaning or a sense of purpose. So I think it's always important to have a positive sense of well-being, not a negative one. It would definitely help in this situation.
Yeah, I think staying positive is really, really important. I know, what do I say? Every day is a good day except the day I wake up dead.
Yeah, exactly.
So I won't know when that day is, so therefore, ergo, use a legal verbiage, ergo, every day is a good day.
Yeah, well, life is too short. At the end of the day, you have to think of the positives.
Absolutely you do. So, how do you manage mental health as a junior lawyer? And I'm not saying you necessarily as an individual, but the conference you went to, what was the recommendation?
So I joined the new lawyer wellbeing guideline for legal workspaces, and they created guides relating to Victoria and new lawyers, and I think that they can be implemented across other states as well. I know that we'll be using it at our firm. It just essentially helps you see where you're at with your team, especially as a junior lawyer, and where you can promote the positive wellbeing of yourself and those around you. I think that's a good start. Otherwise, depending on where you are, you might be able to contact the Law Society or other aspects just to see where you can help.
Right, okay. And is there a website address for that one?
I can send it to you, but I think it should just be the Law Society of New South Wales. And if you search up mental health, there should just be some prompts.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. All right. So what does mental health mean to you?
So for me, it means having psychological and emotional function. How you cope with things, how you enjoy life. And when I think of mental health, I try to think of it as a positive thing. So how does it mean positively? I know that it can also be a negative thing, but for myself personally, how am I dealing with things in a positive way?
Yeah, I get that. And I mean, there's a phenomenon that happens a lot, even with pilots, well known in that one. But if you're a junior, don't be afraid to speak up, and even to speak up that your team leader seems to be suffering from mental health issues, and putting them aside and mentioning it to them.
Yes, exactly.
Right, okay. So, do you have an accreditation relating to mental health? Do you actually need an accreditation talk about mental health?
Yes, so I recently did one with Red Cross. So now I am a standard mental health first aider after successfully completing a course. It was a 2-day course. It was extremely informative and I have learnt so much. I recommend at least one person in each workplace do it. It has allowed me to monitor those around me, look for signs of ill mental health, things such as suicide, depression, high levels of anxiety. And it's something that I can not only use in my workplace, but also use in my own personal life, or if I see something happen on the streets, I'm well equipped now to deal with it.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good. I like that idea of having at least one person in a workplace.
Yeah.
And these things are forgotten. If someone's not looking out for you and looking out for it, then you don't notice it. If you don't notice it, then there's more problems.
Well, definitely as well. I just even think having that one person, especially as a new lawyer or a new starter in the law firm, at least you know, okay, I don't know everyone, but I know that there is a mental health first aider. And if something goes wrong, I can speak to that specific person. I think it's really, really good to have that.
Cool. So, and we are talking about just one firm, but it is the firm's podcast. So how's it managed at the groups and within the office?
Yes. So at De Groot and within the office, we do daily team meetings in the morning where we sit down and we discuss what we have on for the day. Essentially, do we need any assistance with anything? How we're feeling. So it's a way to say, okay, well, today I've got way too much on. I need some assistance. Who can assist me? So then people jump in and say, I've got assistance. I can help you. And it's a good way to manage stress, and there's not a lot of expectation on one person to complete all tasks. We sort of job share, which is a good thing. We also have weekly meetings with the Brisbane office who we work closely with. Same thing, we speak about our capacity, how we're going, and if we need any assistance with that. And of course, our team leaders here are wonderful. So if you have any difficulties or you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anything like that, you can speak to them. And then, of course, I am this mental health officer for the Sydney office, and they've also got one in the Brisbane office as well. So you can reach out to people as necessary.
Yeah, regular whips are really, really important. Okay, so so you're a new lawyer and you've got a long career ahead of you. What should the future of lawyers actually look like?
Well, when I joined the conference, they discussed a couple of things which I completely agree with. So one of the main things that they said was that we need to continue to support and sustain members and to ensure that we respect the humanity of all involved. And as well, we need to continue to be valued as people as well as professionals. So see us as individuals and not just as lawyers. We need to promote excellence, diversity, inclusivity, and connection. And we need to engage with personal and professional growth through meaningful mentorship. Altogether, we need to ensure that we have good values and we have good mental health while still being able to deliver high quality legal services to our clients. So we need to think about ourselves as well and what our mental health looks like.
Yeah, and I think it's an industry that's, hasn't been all that great of taking care of its own mental health and its own members of the profession looking after themselves mental health wise.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be a key takeaway?
I think a key takeaway is if you're a junior lawyer, or even if you're not a junior lawyer, you are a lawyer, you need to think about your mental health. Are you okay in the workplace that you are currently in? Is there someone that you can reach out to? Have you considered talking to your GP? Have you used the online resources? And of course, there is Lifeline and other free utilities. Have a think about your mental health and whether you think it needs to be improved. And I think for me, and something that I share with those around me, is take some time away from work. When you go home from work, have an activity to do. Walk after work, walk during your lunch break, keep your body moving, just so that you're not in a constant state of, I'm stressed because of work or I have 100 things on. Have other things to look forward to, such as painting, walking, going to the gym, doing things like that.
Yeah, very, very true. I think walking is a nice, simple activity. Or even just get up and do a stretch.
Yes, we do that at the Sydney office a lot. Sometimes we stretch and go get coffees together, but at least we're keeping our bodies moving.
Yeah, exactly right. So stretching and moving is a simple thing that you can do.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's all from me.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much for your time, Isabel.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you require any further information, please go to our website www.degroots.com.au and book a consultation. The contents of this podcast do not constitute legal advice and are of a general nature only. Listeners should make their own inquiries about their specific circumstances and seek legal advice.